Hello! Today I'm going to show you my method of changing colors with amigurumi. So I've done up a simple example here that I'm going to use, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along, and this will help when changing colors with my patterns or any other pattern. So the first thing, I've got the work here. I'll give myself a bit more yarn. There we go. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how I change to the next color. So in this case, the pattern might say single crochet 1, and then in color B, let's say this is color A, and I've got color B here. So in color B, single crochet 3, for example. So what I would do, first single crochet 1, but I'm not going to finish this stitch with color A. So knowing that there's a color change coming up, I'll take my color yarn, my B colored yarn, and once I'll show you that again. So once I'll put my hook through, pull through. Now I've got 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to take my new color, loop it around the hook, and pull through both loops to finish the stitch in the new color. And that will just help with the color changes not being so sudden and kind of jagged. This helps just transition them a little smoother. And it's how I write all of my patterns. So if you don't do it this way, it's still a viable option, but it might not look exactly right and things might not line up quite right. So I've finished my SC1 stitch. Now from here, you can tie that yarn tail on. I like to just tie it onto the previous colored yarn. I won't do that just for this example. But from here, I'm going to SC3. So what I'm going to do, get these all figured out here, get that out of the way. I'm going to take in my hand the yarn tail from color B, as well as the yarn from color A. And I'm going to crochet over both of these in my next 3 stitches. Now I like to do this in 2 to 3 stitches usually, just to help kind of lock it in there. 1, 2, 3. And I usually will do the when I'm attaching yarn, I'll wait till the end of the round before tying it on, but you could do that now if you wanted to. Now from here, I only wanted to SC3 in color B, and now I have to change to color A again. So what I'm going to do, I'll hold that up so you can see it. There we go. What I'm going to do, because I've already made those 3 stitches, I'm just going to bring the last stitch out and make sure I have both loops on the hook again. And then I'll finish that with now color A. So pull through. So if you can see there, that still has 3 completed stitches in the color B. But we've just rewound a little bit to make that transition again. So now I'm going to continue around with this one. Since I have just changed again, I'm going to take the main attached yarn, and I'm not going to cut that off, even though I know for example, I'm not going to be using again until the other side of the work, or maybe a few rounds in the future. I don't like cutting and tying, so this is my little sort of cheat, I guess, that I do. So again, Make sure that's nice and snug, not pulled too tight, the color B yarn, and then we're going to hold color B and single crochet over it. Oh, I've pulled up the yarn tail. Get that out of the way. There we go. So I'm going to, single crochet over it again for 2 to 3 stitches. And that will help just lock it in there. I'm not going to stitch over it the entire way around because that will change the density, I guess, the width of the work. And I don't want to do that and get it all kind of warped or not right what it's meant to look like. I do vary whether it's like 2, 3, maybe sometimes even 4 stitches that I will overlap. I vary those, especially if there's a lot of color changes stacked. I vary them so that those stitches that are overlapping the extra yarn don't end up kind of warping that section out of place. So from here, I've done the 3 stitches over top of that. Now I can let it just fall to the back. And I'm gonna keep crocheting around until I get to the other side of the work. All right, so there we go. So from here, let's say there's another color change back to color B again. In the past, ways of changing that color that I've seen would be to cut off the yarn or strand it through, strand it behind. But again, I found that there's just things that don't quite work with those methods, for me at least. They may work for you, but here's how I do it. So what I'm going to do, I've got color B on this side of the work and I want to bring it over to the other side. I'm not going to just bring it straight over. All right, get that out of the way. I'm not going to bring it straight over because I don't want to pull the work out of place. So if I just brought it straight like this, for example, as I keep working up, that section is going to be really tight, and I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do instead, I'll make my stitch, and with the 2 loops on the hook, knowing I'm color changing in the next stitch, I'll take this and I'm actually going to leave it a bit of slack. So if you can see that there. So I'm going to make it so that no matter kind of how much this work pulls or whatever, that this yarn won't be stopping it from stretching, including when it's stuffed or anything like that. So I'm going to pull that through, and now I've got this extra loop going between the work that's connecting both sides. And if I just continued stitching around with this, because this is loose, it could actually bring the stitches loose. So what I'm going to do next, I've got my color A that we'll yarn over, and then this extra loop here that we're going to yarn over as well. So I'll put this on the right side. I'll take those 2. I'll pull that stitch somewhat tight, so just so it's firm, just so it's the right size as to match the other stitches. And now I'm going to stitch over color A and the loop, the back loop from color B. So this back loop that's extending across. So stitching over, over, over. I'll just do, let's do more than 3. So I've done 3 and now I'm going to keep working. I don't have to do any more because I know those are pretty much locked in. So keep working around in the color B. Alright, and I'll show you that now. So here's what's happened. We stitched over the color A a few stitches and stitched over this loop in the middle. Now, as you can see, no matter kind of how far this work stretches, this loop's not actually affecting it at all. With some of my work, there can be a lot of color changes, and that can make stuffing, if you're filling it with these loops, it does use a bit more yarn, although probably not as much yarn as if you were to cut and tie each change. But the stuffing sometimes it can get quite chaotic with all the different colors and all the different loops in there. And in that case, I just stuff as you go. That way you're not kind of trying to push through 50 of these kind of thing at the end, because they can provide stuffing themselves as well. The other thing is managing all the different colors. So this example I've shown has just got the 2 colors, but often my patterns include more than that in the single round. And in that case, you just do the same thing. You just keep going. If you change the color, make sure you stitch over it 2 to 3 times, ideally 3. Stitch over it, drop it, keep going with the next colors, and just keep going in that same pattern. I do find that if I'm working, like for example, my numbat pattern that I've just been working on recently has 5 or 6 colors that can sometimes be worked pretty close. So I find I stop usually about every 5 rounds and just untangle all the yarn. That way I don't end up with a big sort of knotted mess at the end. But I hope this helps you and explains how you can make these color changes a lot easier without having to cut and tie constantly. So thank you for watching.